Right? OS works like an interface between the computer, between the system and the hardware components and the user. Like let's say you bought some laptop, right? You want to work something, you want to play some games, you want to write a document. You need an interface to open a Word document, right? Or else you need an interface to play the game. That interface is nothing but an operating system which connects the user and the actual system hardware. Right? Every computer must have at least one or the other operating system to run the programs like which we use in our general purpose or in our daily life, like browser, MS Office, and so on. So that's what operating system does. It works like an interface. Also, that is the one which does all the task handling. Like let's say you want to work with multiple applications, right? This multiple tasks if you're working on to allocate the memory resources to these applications, your operating system is the one which works. If we talk about in detail, in particular, the core component is called the kernel. Kernel is the central component of the operating system. It makes the communication between the hardware and the software possible, right? The core component of the OS is the kernel. And again, different operating system uses different kernels. And by the way, all this multitasking, whenever you are doing multitasking, the resource sharing, let's say one application is idle, the resources will be allocated to some other application. This kind of sharing, assigning the resources, all of that will be taken care by this core component called kernel. And Linux machines uses monolithic kernel, which makes the system works really faster. Also, they consume, of course, they consume more space, but they make system faster. And Windows uses microkernel, which occupies less space, but which makes the system work a bit slow than Linux, right? It depends. The how the processing speed and all depends on the kernel use. Linux uses monolithic kernel, which provides a very good processing speed when compared with Windows. And another thing is Linux operating system is lighter than Windows. One major reason it doesn't have the UI. Majority of the Linux doesn't have GUI, right? Maybe Ubuntu has got it, but in general, we get only the CLI. Working with CLI will be more efficient than working with Windows when you have to manage huge number of files or like when you have to process lot of data. And here are some of the examples. First difference, like I said, Linux is very lightweight when compared with Windows. Also, Linux is highly secure than Windows. It's a less vulnerable for all attacks, right? And also, it's open source and free to use. Whereas that's not the case with the Windows. We know that, right? And also in Linux file system, the names of the files or folders are case sensitive. Again, which is not the case with Windows. Linux uses monolithic kernel. Kernel difference is there. Linux is more efficient when compared with Windows, particularly like the CLI makes it more efficient when you are working with huge data or huge files. And Linux uses forward slashes as path separated, whereas Windows uses backward slashes in the path, correct? So these are few differences between these two operating systems. And yeah, like I already mentioned, majority of the DevOps tools needs Linux, at least the master server or else the main server. Like if you take Prometheus, I told you Prometheus can monitor any infrastructure, but it should be installed on Linux only. Same is the case with Ansible. Ansible can configure any infrastructure, even if the Windows servers can be configured. But Ansible controller machine, the main Ansible server should be Linux. So yeah, there is a more dependency on Linux. Also, like I said, Linux is much faster and also more secure. We'll be using Linux in our course. That's how it's used in reality as well. Majority of the DevOps implementation is on Linux service. Okay, fine. We understood that we need Linux. But how do we get Linux? Let's say mine is a Windows laptop. Yours might be Mac. So how do we have Linux? Do you install another laptop or else do you buy another laptop with Linux or how we are going to do that? How we can have a Linux OS?
Uh, by creating account into AWS and using that.
AWS CLI.
Actually, one thing is we can have some virtual machine, right? How many of you know what is a virtual machine?
This is a software, madam. We can use like a.
We can have a virtual machine. We can have a virtual machine, right? Please keep muted, everyone. Please keep muted. It's a virtual machine which runs on your operating system, right? Like let's say yours is Windows. On this machine, you can have your virtual machine running. Virtual machine means it will be running on our main operating system only, but it works like a separate machine. Right? To be more specific, see here, we might have used virtual machines, particularly few years back. Virtual machines are the ones which help such scenarios, right? Ours is Windows. On this Windows, you can install some software called hypervisor. Let's say this is my Windows. This is Windows. Okay, some hypervisor. Hypervisor is nothing but a software which can help you launch virtual machines or which can help you create virtual machines, right? This is a hypervisor. Like examples, Oracle VirtualBox, VMware, VM Workstation, and so on, Hyper-V and so on, right? There were so many hypervisors. So using this hypervisor, you can start a VM. VM is nothing but which will have its own operating system, right? Like let's say this is Windows, host is Windows. You can have a VM of any operating system like a Linux, separate, different version of Windows, anything. It will have its own operating system, which is referred as guest operating system. Do you see this? Right? So guest operating system, which will sit on the host operating system and also which will consume the resources of this host, right? That's what is a virtual machine. Means in your laptop, you can run some VMs. How many VMs, how huge is the VM depends on the resources available on your host because it will consume the resources from this host, right? That's how what we can do on our laptop. We can install some Linux virtual machine and do DevOps. Similarly, the same is the case here. See here, each VM runs its own operating system and behaves like an independent computer, even though it's running on just a portion of actual underlying computer hardware. In VMs itself, there are two types of architecture. See, you don't need to understand this in detail, just some idea. Okay, hosted architecture, this is the one we use for our personal purpose. Like I want to learn something, I want to learn DevOps, I need Linux. So this is for our personal purpose, hosted one, right? Like on my Windows, I'll have hypervisor and have it. In real time, companies also used to have their own data centers, right? So on their own data centers, directly on the hardware, there can be hypervisor. That's called bare metal hypervisor, particularly Hyper-V is an example of it, right? So using this hyper means you don't need an operating system because those are physical servers which will be very huge. You can directly have a hypervisor and the virtual machines above it. This is how companies companies have their own data center. Only the architecture is different. Again, the concept is virtual machine only. This is called bare metal architecture. This is called hosted architecture. Can you see the difference, all of you? So this is how they use. So when they maintain their own data center, they have to maintain their own team. A separate team should be there who will always manage this data center. Team to have backup and recovery. Team who maintains a high availability of the server, which will take lot of time, lot of effort, more people like a separate team. Also, this is costly. Same is the case for our personal purpose also. If you use, you should have more resources on your laptop, right? You should expand your resources like memory, CPU. You should go for high configurations so that you can run more VMs and they'll be more effective. Like you should spend some time, effort, create those VMs, take care of their backup. When something goes wrong, you should be taking care of recovering them, right? And again, yeah, because you're expanding as per your resource, as per your VMs, it would be costly as well. Can we have this hassle free? Like, can we overcome these things without we managing ourselves? Can we have some VMs? Are you all following any questions in this part?
Yeah, following.
Any questions? And one more thing, see, it is daily same link. I already mentioned in the last class, it's only one-time task of registration. Use the same link to join. You don't need approvals or you don't need to register each and every day. It's a one-time task which you did in the last session, like yesterday, I think. Yeah, yesterday you did. So you can just use the link which you get to your email and join. Okay. So this is the architecture of virtual machines, like the bare metal kind of. Both has the challenges. So now what companies are doing, instead of having their own data centers, having their own physical servers, they were using or they were renting some servers from someone else's data center, which is nothing but cloud. What is cloud? Cloud is nothing but where we can rent our infrastructure from. It's an online service, right? You don't need to have your own team. You don't need to take care of backup or you don't need to take care of recovery. There need not be a separate team to create them. Anyone can create the infrastructure in just 2 minutes on the fly. Means what we are doing actually, we were using someone else's data center. Let's say there were so many cloud providers like AWS, GCP, Azure. They have their own data centers and they are providing the resources from their data centers. Means we will create VMs or we will use the VMs which are running on AWS data centers. That's what companies are doing, right? They were renting the infrastructure for some which is running on someone else's data center like AWS or GCP. They have got physical servers, huge physical servers on which they were allowing others to create the VMs and we will pay as per the usage. Right? That's how companies are using and that's what is cloud. Same is the case for us also. For our personal purpose as well, you don't need to create your own VMs. You can just use some VMs from cloud, right? That's what we were doing in this course also, so that you will see the actually how infrastructure is managed on real projects as well. See here, what is cloud? On-demand computing resources delivered to us over the internet is called cloud. It's a self-service. You don't need a separate team for it. You can create the infrastructure on the fly and it is metered. Metered means you pay only for what you use. Let's say you use only for 1 hour. You pay only for 1 hour. All the maintenance of that server for the rest of the 23 hours in the day, right? Taking backup of it, upgrading that with the OS patches and all will be taken care by the cloud. You just use for 1 hour and just stop it if you don't want it, like if you are done, right? Or else if you maintain your own data center, even though you use it for 1 hour, you should manage it in your own data center for rest of the day, correct? All those challenges are overcome with the cloud and there were so many cloud providers. Many cloud providers are there, right? Here are some of them and their comparison. AWS is again the winner in this category. That's where it's been used more widely because of few reasons, because of the flexibility or because of the huge number of services it offers. It offers more than 200 services, I believe. And also its server capacity is 6 times huge than all other cloud providers put together. You can imagine how huge it is. Means it can manage infrastructure of any size, right? And like any other tools, if you know one cloud, you can work with any other cloud very easily, right? Because they all offers the same terminology, I can say. Like if it is not terminology, same services, same kind of analogy you can do. Terminology is different, right? Like in AWS, you have EC2 instances. In Azure, they are called virtual machines and so on, right? Whatever it is, it's again the same. How you log in, that's the analogy you can do. Companies, when they were recruiting people, they were not looking for people who know all the clouds because that's not possible. That's not they were looking for. They were looking for people who know who worked on some cloud. If you work on one cloud, they were expecting you can work or you can switch to others very easily. That's the expectation because you may know AWS today, GCP today, Azure today. Let's say tomorrow and the new cloud comes up. It's not that you know all of them. They were looking for people who can switch over to other technologies very quickly. That's what is their perception when picking up the candidates. So yeah, we will be building our CI/CD pipelines, and we will be having all our infrastructure in AWS. You don't need to create anything on your laptop directly. Okay, so that you will be saved on resources, time, effort, and so on. So now that we understood why we need AWS, let's go to AWS and create our instances. Good to go? Any questions from anyone here? Okay.
No.
So now we can go to AWS, create a free account on AWS. What is a free account? It is free for 12 hours with the within the free tiers. Right? Have you all created AWS account? If not,
Yes.
follow the documentation and you can create it. It is just simple. Few steps. And if still anyone haven't created it, yesterday I have shown you the steps in brief. If anyone missed it, you have this documentation here, EC2 instance creation. It's a self-explanatory. When you go through the link and if you navigate through the wizard, you will be creating an EC2 instance. I mean, you'll be creating an account, I'm sorry. So once you create an account, you can see the console home. Here you can search for any resources. Okay. Now we need EC2 instance, means I need a virtual machine. Here you can search for EC2. Click on this EC2. Now we need a VM, right? Linux machine we need, so that we can practice or we can use it for our DevOps. So let's go to the dashboard and create an instance here. Launch instance. If you scroll down, yeah. One more thing. Yeah. Here you can give some name to your instance, and here you can see the AMI. AMI means which image you need. See, you can create Mac, you can create Ubuntu, Windows, and so on. But also check whether they are free tier eligible or not. In our case, we need Linux, right? Also, there were different distributions in Linux, if you know. Here, choose Amazon Linux 2. Don't choose this 2023. Choose this Amazon Linux 2. What is this Amazon Linux 2? It is Red Hat CentOS based operating system. Red Hat CentOS based are the ones which we use mostly in our real time. So this is what I'm creating, which is also free tier eligible. Okay, you can choose other Amazon also. The installation steps may differ. So I would suggest you to go with this one, which is Red Hat based. Amazon Linux 2. Please make a note of it. People will be creating 2023 by mistake. Please make sure you are creating Amazon Linux 2. Please make a note of it. Okay, so Amazon Linux 2 and then type of the instance. Again, you should choose free tier eligible. I have chosen T2.micro. See, there were so many types. T2 family, there were different types of instances. There were T2 family means general purpose. See here, these are T family. Sorry, T family means general purpose. Likewise, C family is there, D family, M family, so many are there. See, so many pages. It depends on your application or it depends on the purpose. Memory intensive resource, memory intensive VMs are there. If your application is memory intensive, you should go for M family and so on. Okay, we were using it for general purpose, T family. Again, T2.micro means how many vCPUs, how many virtual CPUs and memory you will get. You will get one vCPU and 1 gigs of memory. In reality, if they need huge, they may go for this 8 vCPU, 32 gigs. It all depends. See, it offers so many vCPUs and gigs, but they were all not free tier eligible. For our hands-on, we can go with this T2.micro. which provides 1 CPU and 1 GIPS, which is free TRLs.
Preethi, I just have a quick question. Like, how do you identify the memory needed at the start of your cloud infra? Like
It
when you
depends on your application. Let's suppose you have an application. You know your application, right?
yeah.
So whether
So-
your application is a DB application or whether it is memory intensive, you will have some understanding on your application, right? Accordingly, infrastructure will be chosen.
So my question is like, how do you calculate that memory in dependencies? Like, how do you know that the application needs this kind of a memory? Is it like a DevOps person job or someone else?
We don't do it. That's a developer's task. Whether it is memory intensive or whether it is a DB or whether they need cache, that is all developer task. Here I'm creating instance for our CI/CD for our deployments. To run our Jenkins server and all, I'm creating an instance here.
Can we change it? Means you started using this T2, and tomorrow if I want to increase its size, then in same
We
instance,
can't. We can't.
I have to create the new instance for that. Then?
Correct.
And I have to migrate data on that instance.
See, it all depends on the use case. Why should you always migrate? It depends, right? Let's say you started on T2.micro.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. You have to create instance and launch it.
It means I started with T2, but after
see, let's first create an instance. Okay, first let's see how you log in, how you work with it. Then let's talk about modifications and migrations. Okay. We are just on the first page. First, let's create it. Then you may get majority of your questions answered. Okay, so just I'm showing about the name, the AMI, and the type. Then, okay, once instance is created, you have to log in, right? So to log in here, you need to create a key pair, right? Key pair is nothing but this is a SH key pair. This is again a separate Linux concept. We will learn it separately, okay? Just here, go and create a new key pair if you are doing it for the first time and create it in the PEM format. Create a key pair. You have to give some name. Let's say I'm just giving ABCD. And it will download this PEM file only for the first time, right? Only for the first time it will download. You should save it if you want to connect to this. So just again, please be careful to save this. Done. That's all. All other configurations can be left to default. Okay, let's create an instance. Yeah, here you can see something pending. I did not give any name here also. If you want, you can give some new server, a test. Right, I have created an instance. Okay, fine. VM is virtual machine is created. I want to do something. I have to connect to it, right? How do you connect to it? Again, there are multiple ways to connect. I'll show you all of them. First method is quick connection. Okay, the browser-based connection. Select the instance and go here. Instance connect. Go to EC2 instance connect. See here, it will show you the public IP. Every instance will be assigned with a public IP and click on connect. See, this is the browser-based connection. Very quick. Right? See, I am already onto Linux machine, EC2 user, default user on this machine is EC2 user. You'll see the IP. You can run any Linux commands here. Very quick and simple, right? So this is one way of connecting, but this is always not possible because in reality, you may not be having access to this console always, correct? So if you don't have access to this console, if you are just provided with the IP address and the key, you can't connect this way, right? So then how to connect the other ways? Like I said, when you want to connect to any remote machine, you will be using a protocol called SSH protocol, SSH. Like I said, we will learn this concept separately. Just follow the steps here. Okay, the concept behind it, we will learn it. Now, let's say I just want to connect to it. You can copy this public IP or else again go to connect. You can connect via SSH clients. It is giving you an example also. This is the command you should run. The meaning of this command, like I said, we will talk about this separately. So just run this command from any SSH clients. What are the SSH clients? Your git bash is one of the SSH client. Putty is another SSH client. There were so many interfaces which works like an SSH client. Sorry, this is not bash. We have installed git right in the previous sessions. Launch this git bash which can serve like an SSH client. Okay, now just go here, copy this command and run this from your SSH client. But, okay, first let me run. You should run this from the location of PEM file. See, I'm running in this path. There, PEM file is not there. It was saying not accessible, no such file or direct. It doesn't have the PEM file here. So go to the location of PEM file. Actually, PEM file is in the downloads. Right? It's here in the downloads. We should go here and run this. My git bash is very slow. I'm opening another window. Okay, here is the PEM file. Now run the command from here. Let's copy the command again. Yeah, you should run this from the location of PEM file. So it will be connecting. You can connect from here. Or else there are other SSH clients also like Putty. Okay, meanwhile it shows the connection. Let me show you. Download and install the Putty. This is another SSH client. Okay, you can just download this, download Putty. Even those steps were available. Browser-based connection, git bash connection from Putty. Okay, this is the document which shows Putty connection. You can download this Putty. Okay, once this is available, launch it. Here you have to put the public IP of the instance. Concept behind them is same. All of them are using the same SSH concept, but the way you connect is different. Put the public IP here. On the left hand side, go to SSH, auth, credentials. We were using the key, private key. Here Putty uses, this one, private key file for authentication. Putty uses PPK file format. But this is in the PEM format. See, PEM format is not shown. Do you see here only PPK file? It should be in the PPK file format. In the beginning, when you create a key, it was asking you to download, right? PPK or PEM. We have downloaded PEM. Now, but Putty needs PPK. You can convert that PEM into PPK file format using something else called Puttygen. You can download that also. Download Puttygen. Puttygen will convert PEM files into PPK files. Once it is downloaded and installed, you can launch your Puttygen. See, that's a Puttygen. Here, load the PEM file which you want to convert. I want to, here, select all files. Now select this and it is generated actually. Save it. Save it as, see, I'm giving, okay, A, B, C, D. Okay, and see here, it is already saving as PPK file. Now you can close Puttygen. Now you go to Putty back. Now if you try to browse PPK file in the downloads I have saved, see, this is the one we need. Following everyone? See, PEM file is the one through which you can connect. Git bash uses PEM file, but this putty needs PPK file format. How do you generate PPK? We have used puttygen. Puttygen can convert PEM to PPK. Done. Now you can connect from putty. It is asking for login. The default login is EC2 user. See, you are again connected to the instance from your putty. Git bash, my Git bash is slow for some reason. Otherwise, here also it will show you the connectivity. Clear, everyone?
Can't we use a VS Code editor?
VS Code is an editor. Okay, through that you can't connect to the instance. Again, that also uses the same SSH concept. That is where when you want to edit some files on the instance, you do that. It's for editing the files we connect from VS Code.
Oh.
Again, the same concept behind. We will do that as we progress. But here my intention is not just to edit the files, to connect to the instance first. So SSH clients are Git bash, your putty. There is one more thing called mobexterm. This is very much good in many ways. Another SSH client, that's all. Like you have different editors, different SSH clients you can use. Mobexterm, which is again more, it has got a lot of features. Now, how do you connect? Like putty only. Go here, SSH, put the public IP. Username, EC2 user. This also uses PPK file only. We already generated this with puttygen, right? So downloads that PPK file. Right? This is through mobexterm. Anyway, you can connect. Understood, everyone? So I'm again back to my machine. You may connect through your Git bash or through putty or through mobexterm. But through putty, you have to have puttygen, which will convert this PEM file to PPK. Finally, connected to the instance. Good to proceed. Any questions from anyone in this part? All these connections were available here. Browser-based connection, Git bash, putty, a video also, a quick video to show you how to connect so that you can quickly connect to the instance. So now that we have connected to the instance and you have understood, let us try getting into some Linux concepts. Like first, let's go with the Linux basics. Right, some of the commands were similar like we have used earlier from CLI. Right, like ls will list the files. PWD will show you in which directory you are in. So you have to remember one thing, like you have different drives in Windows. In Linux, you have only one directory, or else that's called root directory or parent directory, which is called slash. That's called the parent directory or the root directory. Every other folders comes under this only. That's why you will see /home/EC2 user. Okay, that's one thing you have to bear in mind. And here this mobexterm provides you another advantage. In whichever directory you are in, it is showing in the GUI format on the left hand side. So that for new Linux users, this will help you. You are in this folder again, these are the subfolders. When you do ls, they are not shown, they are all hidden folders. ls-a will show you all the hidden folders. That's what is shown here. Do you see that? Okay. So, yeah. Now let's suppose you want to create a file. Touch file1.txt. That's one way to create. Okay. And another simple command echo is to print the output. Let's say I just want to display something. Right? Those are very basic, simple commands in Linux. And let's suppose now I want to put this hi into this file1. Those are called redirection arrows. Output of this will be placed into the file. Now, if you want to check the content, cat command is like a read command. It will show you contents of the file. Echo is print. touch is creating a file. You can create a file this way also. Vim is another, it's an editor on your Linux. You can use Vim editor, VI editor, Nano editor, different editors in Linux. Okay. You should slowly get used to it. See, don't worry or don't get panicked that you are new to Linux, you don't know Linux. See, it's just an operating system. Did you had a if you look into Windows, through just usage you get used to it, isn't it? You did not learn it separately or do anything. Of course, it's all GUI, but still, it is just the environment, the OS. You need to know the very basics at least, like working with the file system, navigating through the files and folders. That much is enough to get started with. That you will get to practice. Like if you everyday use Linux, you will get used to it. That's all. So don't try to master Linux in overnight or in a day or two. Okay, give some time. Like you should be, it's an environment. You should be used to it. Daily, you should allocate some 10 minutes for Linux commands or Linux hands-on. So that way you will be all set with Linux, right? So this is an editor. There are different editors, like you can use VI editor simply, or Vim editor or Nano editor. Anything you can use. I'm showing you Vim editor. Let's say I want to add something. See, it is opening and it is in the command mode. Okay, if you want to type something, you should go to insert mode. But it is here, you are seeing like this means it's command mode. If you want to go to insert mode, escape I. See, escape I. Now you type anything. And now if you want to again go to command mode, escape. Escape colon WQ exclamatory means save and quit, save and close. Now, if you want to check whether it is saved or not, cat. See, it is saved. That's how you can edit the files. Vim editor, you can take some time to get used to this. Here is the documentation, Vim editor. How do you edit the files with Vim? You can do many things, like you can delete the lines, you can do. Slowly, you should practice this and get used to it. If anyone new to Linux, this is for them. Okay. So that's how this works. And yeah. And also here you can refresh on the left hand side if you want to see. See, file 1 is shown there. And it is also showing 9 bytes created on so-and-so date by EC2 user. What is that? We'll discuss. But yeah, you can see it here when you refresh. This is how our Windows users can use Linux easily with this Mobex term. Okay. So, right. So now I have one file. I want to copy this. Right. CP command will copy it as file 2. Right. Again, if you do ls, yes, you can see file 1 and file 2. Right. File 2 is a copy, means it will have the same. Okay. That's how you create the files and copy the files. Suppose if you want to create a directory, mkdir is a command to create a directory. Let's say directory means folder. If you are Windows person, directory is nothing but a folder. Let's say my folder is the name I'm giving. See, do you see that? And if you want to go into that folder, I'm already in the location where this folder is present. So I can do cd. cd means change directory. See, now I have the prompt change. I'm inside my folder. You can also refresh here. See, my folder is there. And if you do pwd, it's a my folder. Okay, you can also here select this follow terminal folder. Means whenever you navigate to this, if you select this, this will show you that. Right? See, it was showing you are in my folder, but there is nothing here. Okay, let's say I just want to copy. You can copy from here. Like, let's say you can copy. File 1 is in this home EC2 user path. So put the complete path, file 1. Dot means present working directory, current directory. ls. See, file 1 is copied. See, file 1 is there. Copy means, yes, it's copied. Let's say I just want to move. What is the difference between copy and move? I want to move file to dot. See, I got file 1 and file 2. To come out, cd dot dot means one level up. So what is the difference between file 1 and file 2? Do you understand the difference? What is the difference between file 1 and file 2? Sorry, what is the difference between CP and move?
Move into cut and paste.
Yeah, move is like it's just moving. File copy is like it file 1 is still here, it is also in my folder. But move is like it's just moving. Yeah, cut and paste it somewhere else. This is my folder. My folder has got both the files. Here you can see that as well. Right? Those are the simple things. And if you want to go one level back, like in the folders in the Windows Explorer, you will go here, right? Back, one level up. That's what is the cd dot dot. So again, I am here in the home EC2 user path. So to delete any files, RM will delete the file. See, if you want to delete the folder, can I use this? See, it says it's a directory. To delete a folder and its content as well, RM minus RM. Everything is gone and clean. You refresh this, got updated, right? Those are the simple commands. There were many commands we'll be talking about, but those are simple commands which will help you navigate through the server, like through your file system. And there were so many other system defined files, like default files as well. Particularly, this is an instance on AWS, correct? Which is a Amazon Linux-2. I told you it's a Red Hat CentOS based, correct? For any instance, if you want to check which distribution it is, see, there were so many distributions in Linux, like you have versions in Windows. That distribution information will be present in a file called under etc. There is a file called OS release by default. If you read the content using cat command, it will show you. See, Amazon Linux, that is like CentOS, Red Hat, Fedora based systems. That's how you know which distribution is your system, right? Some general commands which may help you. Similarly, ls CPU will list the CPU details of it. It's the one virtual CPU, right? That's what it was showing, one, and so many other information like Linux core configurations. You don't need to go into that, but just Linux command, ls CPU, ls memory, memory information, all of that can be seen. And have you noticed till now we were working as an EC2 user? That's a default user created on the server with which you can use. Let's suppose we want to do some admin tasks. Like in Windows, you will see you have to run it as an admin and all, right? Similarly, in Linux, there is a super user called root user. This is the root user or a super user with all the admin privileges. He will have permissions on everything, right? And other users are like this is one more default user, general user. Similarly, you can create other users. These users represent the human users. Let's suppose you in a team, you have 5 people. They want to log into the server. We can create different usernames and passwords for them to log in. Okay, those are all called general users. When we have users, we'll talk about permissions, right? Like you can create users, groups, and permissions. Right, when you talk about groups, yeah, that's where permissions comes in, like what they have, what they can see, what they can edit, and so on. So we will talk about those as well. User management. Before that, let me tell you, whenever a user is created, okay, this user will have a home directory created by default. Every user will have its own home directory created by default. Home directory means whenever this user is installing or doing any configurations, that goes into this home directory. And this home directory will be under home, and the folder name will be by default the same username. That's why till now, whenever you are running anything, this tilde indicates that's a home directory. See, this is the home directory. We are in the home directory of EC2 user. Tilde indicates this. Let's say I just went one ahead. It will show you home. Means this prompt will show you in which directory you are in. Tilde also is showing you that only. Tilde means home directory. Home directory is in home EC2 user. Am I making sense? Every user will have this. Similarly, root user will have a root directory. That's how his home directory is. Right? Similarly, if you create some user tomorrow called Tom, he will have home directory by default created under the same path, but that's the directory name, right? We will look into that as well. Before that, let's say I want to switch to root user. Sudo su hyphen. Here, VMs on cloud will not have root password for security reasons. If you want, you can switch. Sudo su hyphen will switch. See, you become a root user on that server. Here, this indicates tilde means home directory of root user. If you want to check, yes, that's a home directory of root user. Right? If you want to switch back, su hyphen EC2 user. See, you just switch back as EC2 user. And again, it's showing tilde. This tilde is home directory of EC2 user. If you want to see that, yes, this is the home directory of EC2 user. Clear? Every path will begin with a / forward / in Linux. That's called the parent directory or the root directory. Everything will be under root. Like you have different drives in your Windows. This is how the file system is in Linux. Okay, let's suppose I just went to something else. See, this is the default folders. Okay, you are seeing something here. See here, it shows the prompt shows where are you. Let's say I want to go to home directory of EC2 user. You may do shortcut. Tilde is the shortcut. See, I'm in home EC2 user. Right? These are the simple commands. Move command, copy command, cat we have seen. Vim editor instructions were there, like if you want to edit the files, work around with the files, you can use Vim editor. Creating a directory we have seen. You can copy the directories as well. Like, let me show you my folder. I'm creating this again. Okay, let's say I'll go here. And one more thing. See here. This is the home directory. And if you go here and do pwd, this is called the absolute path, right? The complete path of the particular folder. This is the absolute path. And here, let's say I'll create one more directory. Inside this folder, I'm creating one more folder, right? Right, that's a my folder path. I just want to go to, let's say I want to know the path of new folder, okay? See, this is called relative path. If I want to navigate to this new folder, 1 minute, let me come back. Yeah. See here, if I want to go to new folder, the absolute path of this new folder is, it is in the home EC2 user new folder. Sorry, under my folder, it's a new. This is the absolute path. This is one way you can go, right? If you want to go to new folder, you can put the absolute path this way, or else again, I'm coming out of it. Because it's in the same path, you can just give this also. This is called relative path. Means I'm in already in my folder. Why should I give all this? From my folder, it's the folder available there. I can directly do. So this is called relative path. This is called absolute path. Those are the terms we use in Linux. If you are already in the same location, you can use relative path. Let's say I'm somewhere else. I want to go to this. You have to give the absolute path. Understood the difference between absolute path and relative path? Any questions? Following everyone?
Yep.
Again, if I want to delete this, just come out of this. Delete the folder. Come out of this folder also. If you want, you can delete this as well. Right? Or else if you want to copy this folder, my folder, let's say I just want to copy in the same path, I can use some name as my folder 2. Omitting directory. Let's say in the same path I want to create it. My folder 2. Let me give the path. Home easy to use. Why was this omitting this one? CP. Sorry, I did the CD. Copy all the contents of this my folder. Okay. New. Okay. Minus R. To copy the folder, minus R should be used so that all the contents will be copied recursively. And this is the name you want to give. So I missed this minus R flag. To copy all the contents and the like complete directory. Got it, all of you? These are simple things, right? We do in any operating system, like just to manage the files and all. First, you need to get familiarized with this. Then we have user management, where we'll talk about creating users, giving permissions, then file permissions as well, user management, files and file permissions. And then we have package management in the next, like how do you install any packages in the next. These are the 3 things we'll be talking about. Before we proceed, any questions? Okay, see here, I'm working as EC2 user, right? EC2 user doesn't have a password. If you want to set the password, you can do that with a command called password. Password EC2 user. But see, only root can specify a username. Like you can't set the passwords. Password can be set only as a root user. So if you want to run with the root user privileges, sudo. Sudo is like running the same command with the root user privileges. See, now you can put the password. Right? Password updated successfully. Now, like you have set the password. If you want to see these passwords and all, there is a file called HC password where you can see all the users and the password. See, easy to user, right? Every user will be having some user ID, like this is having 1000, some defaulting and all, right? This is where you can see users and password information, right? And let's suppose this easy to user might be added to some groups. if you want to see what are all the groups this EC2 user is added. By the way, what is the importance of group? Why do we need a group? I told you that these users are human users. Then what are groups? Suppose there is a team of 5 people and they need similar permissions or same permissions. Instead of assigning permissions to each user separately, you can group them and assign the permissions to the group. Correct? That's where groups comes in. How to create the groups, how to create different users, we will see. Similarly, EC2 user, if you want to see what are all the groups, a particular user can be added into multiple groups as well. If you want to see that, groups EC2 user. See, he is by default into, there is a group. By the way, one more thing. Whenever you create a user, yes, home directory will be created. Also, group will be created by the same name, like this. If you create Tom, home directory, also a group called Tom will be created by default. Similarly, that's what he was into EC2 user and other default system groups like admin group, wheel group, systemd group, and so on. He was into all of these groups. Right? And if you want to see these groups, etc groups, these are the default system defined files. Group, that's all. See, easy to use a group. So many default groups, root group, daemon group. See, this is what admin group you are seeing here. Admin group, wheel group, systemd group, this one, right? And all the users present in that group. These are the default files, right? And we have seen these few commands. This clears the screen, history command. We have seen this in git bash also. You can see the list of the commands we have used, right? History of all the commands. And whatever commands we have used were available in this Linux basic commands. Documentation is there, navigating through CD, default system, default files. Package manager we'll see tomorrow. Vim editor, how to use Vim editor is there, right? All of this to be covered. Tomorrow we shall take up this. And separate file also have place for Vim editor so that you can check on it quickly. Any questions in this part from anyone? User management file permissions we shall take up tomorrow. But any questions in this part, you can ask me. How many are new to Linux here? How many are new to Linux? Okay, 4 people raised hands till now. Only 4 new, everyone else are into Linux already. 5 hands raised. 6. Okay, 6 people are new to Linux. Particularly, I want to know from you. Have you understood, followed? Like I said, don't try to master it in one go. Yeah, you can give thumbs up if you understood. All these 6 people, particularly. You can do hands-on. Like I said, daily. You daily practice few commands. Every day, 10 minutes, allocate to Linux. That's all. You'll be all set. In the beginning, it might be like a bit vague, like it is all through CLI. We don't see the GUI, so it might be a bit completely new, right? It might be looking complex. But every day you spend some time with these commands, you'll be used to it. That's all. These are just, we did not learn any technology, just navigating through our files and folders on Linux machine. That's it. So practice till this much. We shall take up from here in tomorrow's class. Any more questions from anyone?
Hi Preethi, can you please tell that putty gen and ppk configuration file concept?
Concept or the steps?
Steps.
Steps is you have to open your putty, go to your select the PPK file. This is already the putty terminal I have. See, the concept behind this is SSH concept. Okay, we will learn that as a Linux subject. Put the IP address here. Okay, it's showing IP address. Put that here. Go to SSH auth. You expand this auth, you will see credentials. Here, the first one, private key. You have to put your browse and put the PPK file here. But how do you get PPK file from puttygen? See, those steps were available in the document here. See, download, load in the puttygen, select the PIM file, right? Then save it. All the steps were here. Save the private key. And how to connect, everything was given here. Do you see that? You can also use this to connect. I would suggest rather than putty, of course, you have to use puttygen and convert that PIM file to PPK. Later on, use this mobexterm. This is more convenient. Download mobexterm. Just go to Google mobexterm. That's all. Simple. Go with the free.
Even this one works for the Mac versions as well. Mobexterm.
I think so. It is available. Download home edition.
Yeah, after this, it's downloading. Portable edition.
Download the portable one you have to download. I'm just checking, is there an option for different OS? In Mac, you have the terminal, right?
Yeah, the default terminal.
That provides advanced capabilities. You can use the default. It was originally designed for Windows. It's now available for Mac as well. Okay, so just this thing, yeah, on Mac.
But to learn this Linux command, we have to create a VM first, EC2 VM, correct? On
Yes, yes.
AWS.
These are a clients and interface to connect to the remote VM. You have to what you will connect. Yeah, you have to have an EC2 instance. Here it is, how to use mobexterm on Mac. Go through it, it might be helpful. All right then. And by the way, one more thing. Once you are done, okay, don't just leave it running. You remember, right? You will be charged for the hours of usage. So once it is done, stop this. Tomorrow you can again start it. If you terminate it, it will be deleted. It will be destroyed, shut down and delete. You do it if you don't want it anymore. But I want it for tomorrow, so I'm just stopping it. Don't forget to miss this step and just don't keep this left running.
So if we stop, it won't charge.
Yes. See, it's stopping. Tomorrow I can come here and start it and continue on the same mission. All right, then please go through the hands-on. Please go through the recording. Do the hands-on. Any questions, post in the WhatsApp. Please, I'm requesting from day one, don't miss the hands-on. Particularly whoever are new to this concept, don't miss the hands-on.
And like I tried to check the yesterday's class recording and it shows the same recording and like couple of days back one.
Yes, yes, yes.
The day 6 one. I think you posted the same one.
Have you checked on the right URL? Is it the case with everyone else?
Yes.
I checked the same one you pinged in WhatsApp.
Okay, let me check. I'll check and we'll update. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, then. Thanks, everyone. See you all tomorrow. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you.